Hello everyone, Gayatri Prem Kumar here, and today we are going to discuss about the next topic in life process, that is transportation. So when we talk about transportation, we are going to talk about transportation that is taking place in plants as well as in case of animals. In animals especially, we will be discussing in detail about the transportation in human beings. So keeping this in mind, first we will discuss about the concept of transportation that is taking place in the human beings. So when I talk about transportation, what has to be transported? What are the materials that has to be transported? So we have discussed already that we intake different kind of food material, and these food materials are broken down to simple form, and these simple form has to reach each and every cell. And who is going to do the function of transportation? Who are the members involved in that? What is the function they perform? How do they perform those functions? We will have the discussion in detail. Say transportation in human beings. So what are the materials that has to be transported? Oxygen has to be transported from the alveoli to the each and every cell of a body, and carbon dioxide that is produced in each and every cell has to be removed out of our body through a proper channel. And not only that, the nutrients what is produced, what is finally given as a simple form, has to reach every cell, each and every cell, for following different pathways. And not only that, the waste metabolic product has to be removed through a proper excretory organ. To reach the proper excretory organ, even that has to be transported through some transport mechanism. Whatsoever transportation has to take place through the transporting material, through the transporting substances which carry these kind of useful product as well as the waste product, which has to be removed or intaken from a proper port, from a proper place, one place to the other place. So who plays an important role? Which are the material that plays an important role in this transportation? So when we talk about transportation in human beings, we'll first consider the blood vessels, and the pumping organ heart. So talking about heart is a vast topic which we will discuss at last. So first we will discuss about the blood and the blood vessel. So when we talk about the blood is a fluid connective tissue which you have read in the class 9. So this fluid connective tissue, what does it comprises of? It comprises of two components. One is the fluid component and the other one is the cells, the solid component present. So if you see the fluid component, that is called as the plasma. In that plasma, all the cells are suspended in that. So what kind of cells are suspended? That include the red blood cells, WBC, and platelet. Red blood cells, white blood cell, and the platelet. So coming to the role of red blood cell. So what is the role of red blood cell? It gives red color to the blood because of the pigment called as hemoglobin, and that is also called as the respiratory pigment, which has more affinity for the oxygen, and that is why it carries oxygen which is present in the alveoli to each and every cell of a body. So that is the role of RBC. And apart from that, WBC, that is white blood cell, contain different kind of like leukocytes, eosinophils, neutrophils, basophils, and it also contain lymphocytes, that includes all the immune cells. And defense mechanism comes under white blood cell. And the third type of cell is the platelet. So what is the role of platelet? Whenever there is a cut, wound or injury, what happens? The blood may come out immediately, and the blood which is coming out has to stop. Otherwise what will happen? There will be excess blood loss. So to stop the flow of blood, excess flow of blood outside during an injury, the platelets plays an important role by clotting the blood at the injured site, the point where there is an injury, cut, wound. It stops the flow of the blood over that particular point. So that is the role of the platelet. So we have discussed the fluid substance. So this is the fluid substance, connective tissue, which is going to transport glucose, amino acid, oxygen, carbon dioxide, nitrogenous waste. So whatever kind of transportation that is going to happen through this fluid connective tissue. Okay. Now next thing is, where this fluid connective tissue is going to pass through. there should be some proper carrier. Who is going to carry that? So that is going to be carried by the blood vessels. So what are the blood vessels? The vessels or tube-like structure that carries the blood is called as the blood vessels. So what are three different types of blood vessels present in our body? Can you guess? Arteries, veins, and then capillaries. Yes. So we will discuss about these three different blood vessels in detail and what role do they perform in this transportation process. So we will discuss first about arteries. If you see arteries, they are broader blood vessels. So what is the role of these arteries? So arteries are broader blood vessels, and what are these arteries carry? So these arteries carry blood from the heart to different parts of the body. So it carries the blood from the heart to different parts of the body. What kind of blood does it carry? It carries oxygenated or pure blood from the heart to all the parts of the body, and it is the function of the artery. Does all the arteries does the same function? No, except pulmonary artery. Pulmonary artery, the word pulmonary denotes for the lungs. So anything which is going to the lungs or from the lungs, we use the word pulmonary. So except pulmonary artery, all the other arteries carry pure or oxygenated blood. Then coming to the structure of the arteries, as I told you, they are broader and they are thicker as they have to pump the blood from the heart to different parts of the body. So they are thick and has elastic walls. So next is about the veins. So vein carry. So what is the role of the veins? Veins carry impure blood, otherwise called as deoxygenated blood or blood more rich in carbon dioxide. So what is the role of veins? So it carries impure blood or deoxygenated blood or blood rich in carbon dioxide. This is the role of the vein, and the veins are narrower compared to arteries. They are narrower, thin blood vessels, and these carry impure blood except pulmonary artery. I told you already, pulmonary is the word denotes for the to and fro, the word with the lungs. So they carry impure blood. All the veins carry impure blood except pulmonary vein which carry pure or oxygenated blood that is coming from the lungs. The veins carry impure blood except pulmonary vein. So pulmonary vein carries pure blood. And then the last one is about the capillaries. So when the arteries finally branch further and further, they become one cell thick blood vessels, and they are called as the capillaries. So when the arteries are broader and thicker, it cannot reach each and every cell. So they get branched in such a way, it is one cell thick, and that is called as capillaries. Now these capillaries will reach each and every cell to transfer the nutrients or any kind of whatever nutrients, glucose, amino acid, oxygen from this blood vessel to the cell, and in turn carbon dioxide or any waste material that is produced inside the cell is again transported by the simple diffusion and comes back to the capillaries, which is then connected with the veins. So coming back to the capillaries, they are one cell thick and helpful in the exchange of material between the blood and the surrounding cells. So they are helpful in the exchange of material between the blood and the surrounding cells. So that is the role of the capillaries. So I have written here arteries, capillaries and vein. It means that arteries will branch to form tiny capillaries, and these capillaries after these exchange will again go and join with the veins, because veins are going to carry the impure blood and again going it for the circulation to the heart for purification. And capillaries also, after the exchange between the blood and the cell, the exchange taking place in each and every cell, the waste material taken up by the capillaries will now again reach the veins, will join with the veins, and vein will carry all the impure blood. So this is the role of capillaries. So we have discussed the blood, function of blood vessels, and then we also have something important to talk about, that is lymph or tissue fluid. So any kind of questions that talks about lymph or tissue fluid is, you may have a confusion. So we know blood vessels, plasma, but what is something called as lymph? and it is also called as tissue fluid. Why it is called as tissue fluid is, when these capillaries, as I told you, it is one cell thick trying to reach each and every cell. As it reaches every cell, the capillaries has tiny pores present in that. And these tiny pores present in the capillaries, through that pores, some nutrients, some materials may get leaked out, and that is present between the cells in the tissue, in the intercellular space, and that fluid is called as the tissue fluid, also called as the lymph. And these fluid again, if this fluid is left out as it is again loss of nutrient and loss of substances. So again this fluid has to come back into the circulation. How this come back into the circulation will take place? It is again, what happens is that, as I told you, the pores in the walls of capillaries, they again join in these capillaries, these fluid will join to the, will flood back into, pour back into the lymphatic capillaries, and these lymphatic capillaries will collect all the fluid that is gathered in between the cells, and these lymphatic capillaries will join in a big lymphatic vessel, and these lymphatic vessel again will join in the large vein, and then it comes back into the circulation. This is how it keeps rotating, it keeps circulating. So none of the fluid is left out anywhere, just like that. So all the nutrients reaches the proper place where it has to reach, where it has to be transported, where it has to be removed out of the body or purified. Whatever process has to take place, it takes place in a proper schematic pathway. Discuss the role of lymph, otherwise called as the tissue fluid. So these are the points we have covered, and now we will discuss what is the role of heart. Heart is the pumping organ, right? So we can just assume when we open the tap, water flows from the tap. How this water comes in the tap? You have a piping system in our home. So wherever you have taps connection in your home, you can see as you open the valve, the water comes out of that. Same way, you have a storage or a organ which distributes the water to all the parts, all the pipe connection. So what is that one? Is called as a tank. So you can assume that tank is considered to be the heart or the pumping organ which distributes water through different blood vessels connecting to the pipes, like how you have the pipes, water pipes. Same way we have different blood vessels in our body, and these blood vessels will carry the blood and distribute to different organs or different parts of the body. So you have valves present. If you see, veins have valve, and that will ensure the blood that flows only in one direction. So these are the role of each components involved in the transportation system. And now we will discuss very important about the heart. So every point what I discuss about heart is very important.